for hello. I'm hoping everybody can hear me. This is Kelly Ortiz, owner of Guru Travel and also travel advisor here at Guru Travel. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on our very quick webinar on cruising to Alaska with kids. I frequently do these webinars because I really like to share my travel knowledge with the general public, because before I was a travel advisor, I first started off, I'm very, very passionate about taking my kids on travel journeys, and we really try hard to embark on various journeys throughout the year with our kids that pose more of a challenge, what most parents would think are a challenge. And I'd like to prove that you can take kids on these journeys and they aren't stressful and they are relaxing and they're fun. So I am so excited to be here chatting with you this evening about my newfound passion, which is traveling to Alaska with kids, and specifically cruising to Alaska with kids. And one of the things that I had as my little quote in sending out info on this webinar is that there truly is nothing more mystical and magical than cruising with your kids to Alaska. Probably one of the best trips I've ever taken my kids to, or traveled with my kids on. And anywhere from glaciers, panning for gold, wildlife spying, these are all things that kids are made for. So before you say, you know, I'm not sure that Alaska is a great option for my family, think about the explorer in your kids and how special that opportunity really can be for your kids. So we'll get right into it here. So this was our journey. We went to Alaska in June with our kids, and there were a group of 6 of us. We had 4 kids. They ranged from ages 7 to 20, and we had the rest were adults, 6 adults ranging from 33 to 64. One of them was a grandparent. So this really was our multi-generational trip for the year, which our family does frequently. We stay pretty comfortable by doing Disney, all-inclusive, couple of Disney cruises in there, but we thought this year we wanted to try something a little bit different. So we chose to do the highlight cruise out of Seattle on the Norwegian Bliss, June 2018. This was a first for all of us. Why Alaska? Why did we choose it? Why should you choose it? Because it's absolutely incredible. Everything in Alaska to me and to my kids and to everybody that we were with was an excursion. Even the views from our balcony, that was an excursion. We are from Chicagoland, so when we look out our windows, everything is very flat. So to look out our balcony day and night and see mountains, and sometimes we were able to spy a whale, was really an adventure for our kids. And that's kind of one of the things that we loved too, was the fact that actually it was daylight at 10 o'clock at night. So my kids were really enthused with finding out that sometimes we accidentally went to bed at 12 or 1 or 2 in the morning. We didn't realize it. So that was an adventure as well. Wildlife was something that was so exciting for the children, and actually for the adults as well, of course. Who doesn't love animals? You go through waterways alongside of glaciers and various wildlife that you really would never be able to see from land. So I really found that standing out on our balcony or being up on the deck was almost equivalent to an excursion. In fact, we happened to be there for the centennial of the special, it was a special Native American tribe that was alongside of us as we were cruising in their canoes. They went 150 miles. So my kids were able to pull out their little binoculars and see that happening as well. So tons and tons of culture. Relaxed. So you'll find that when you cruise Alaska, regardless of the ship that you're on or the cruise line that you're on, because there are a ton of them, the environment is a lot more relaxed than what you'll find when you cruise the Caribbean. People don't get quite as dressed up. The dining rooms are more relaxed. Things are just way more relaxed. It's common to see people sitting by the pool under a blanket with some hot chocolate while the kids are swimming. Very fun, very relaxed, perfect for families. Love the educational component of Alaska. Of course, like I said earlier, I used to be a teacher, so having my kids take an educational piece from a vacation is very important to me. I love that they were able to learn about the environment, lifestyles, and the history of various cultures while we cruised. In exploration, you really can explore Alaska cruise ports almost for free. We didn't schedule very many excursions in advance, and that was simply because we wanted to be flexible. A lot of our daily lives are extremely scheduled, so we thought, why not kind of just know what we wanted to do when we got off the ship, but not have things overly scheduled. So we love the Ketchikan walking tour. You pick up this free map and you kind of walk throughout Ketchikan and find various totem poles, and there's little hiking trails. There's actually 64 points of interest on that map, so that's something I can share with you. If you send me an email, I'm happy to send that information to you. And then they also even have a free trail through the Tongass National Forest, which getting to that forest can be an excursion that people pay for, or you can just make it super relaxed and just show up, and for free you can walk on the hiking trail. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. Absolutely, positively amazing. The kids love that. I found this to be our very best multi-generational travel destination that we've taken. We always travel with grandparents in tow. That's the way my family travels. We are always a group of 10 to 15, possibly 20. And I found that the grandparents really loved to enjoy this bucket list destination with their grandchildren. It was actually almost at some points very emotional to see that this bucket list was happening with the grandkids rather than the grandparents being by themselves. So really, really something else to see happen. Oh, I apologize. I don't know why my notifications are showing up in the corner. So why should you choose to cruise Alaska versus showing up like a land vacation? So first reason is there are so many different cruise lines, and not every cruise line is right for every single family. They offer various things and various twists on touring to Alaska, and really ultimately, because you're going to eat and sleep and be entertained on this cruise, it's very important that you know which one fits your family best. So that's something that we could walk you through when you're ready to think about booking your Alaska cruise. Why cruise Alaska? Because you have access to wildlife that you cannot get from land. Of course, that's vice versa as well, but it really is very amazing to be able to see this wildlife from the ship and kind of have access to it 24/7, and your view is always changing, really. Some of the most spectacular glaciers can only be seen by sailing. If you look below, that's actually all of the pictures on this PowerPoint are pictures that we took while we were on our cruise. And there really isn't a bad picture to be taken. And we were constantly in awe. This was taken right from my balcony. I didn't have to go anywhere special. I ordered up room service. We grabbed some blankets and sat on our amazing balcony for about 5 hours as we cruised through a glacier, and it was just stunning. My son took a nap. He laid on the bed next to the window, and we had the door open, and he would kind of open his eyes and look and then fall back asleep, and it was amazing. It really was so relaxed. Also, cruising Alaska, you can unpack once and see it all. If you want to go to Alaska and see it via land, you're going to do a lot of, it's very similar to Europe. You're going to do a lot of moving around. Lots of puddle hoppers from area to area. A lot of most of the destination is not accessible through driving, so you have to really get up and move. So it's really nice to cruise Alaska because you can unpack once and then see it all. So let's talk about cruising Alaska with kids. And all of those pictures down there at the bottom are, again, pictures from our trip. And I chose some of my favorites for very specific reasons. So entertainment. As you know, families have to be entertained at all times. So while Alaska itself is an amazing destination and definitely does entertain the family, you also need a place to come back and swim. The kids in the youth club, or some arcades, or some shows, and some amazing dining and family activities throughout the evening. If you don't have those things, it's going to make your trip utterly miserable. So cruising Alaska with kids, as you can see at the bottom, our kids had a great time. Right there in the middle is my niece, Michaela, and what she's doing here is she is posing in front of the Beatles poster because she did a project on the Beatles at school, and the Beatles were actually featured on our ship as an evening entertainment option. So that was one of her #1 things she wanted to do. She was so excited. And by the way, she's 7. So, well, she's 8 now, but she was 7 at the time. So the ease of travel. When you're talking about families, you really want to keep the stress to a minimum. Unpacking, going through suitcases. I don't know about you guys, but some of my worst moments in traveling have been when I've had to live out of a suitcase. It's not easy, especially when you have children with you. So the ease of travel with cruising is amazing when you're talking about Alaska. You wake up, you get dressed, you have your clothes out the night before, and you leave the ship, go do what you have to do for the day, and come back and change into something warm and carry on with your evening. Absolutely amazing. The sense of wonder. Kids are explorers in Alaska, and cruising combination is amazing simply because kids are able to explore various destinations from their balcony, from the cruise deck, within the ship in itself is an exploration, and then when you're talking about these amazing cruise ports. Just absolutely stunning. So how is Alaska different? Again, you're looking at pictures from our cruise down there. Alaska is one of the most popular places to cruise with cruisers. It is likely to be more likely to be relaxing under a comfortable blanket than in a bathing suit. So I did kind of mention that our kids wanted to swim. Again, we're from Chicagoland. The cold doesn't bother us. It was not freezing when we were there at all by any means. So we would grab an adult beverage, a blanket, sit by the pool, and the kids would dive in, and we really enjoyed those days at sea with our entire family around the pool. You're going to really find unlimited opportunities for photography. You'll be in awe the entire time you're there. The picture on the left there is actually my sister-in-law standing on her balcony, looking out, and she stood there for quite a while there that day to just kind of take in the sights, and it was a beautiful moment to capture on camera. Over there on the right side is my nephew kind of just peeking around. We had balconies all in a row. He was peeking around at me, and I snapped this photo. So here's some of my tips. That's my family there that you're seeing. My tips are, keep in mind that Alaska cruises depart May through September. That's very weather related. So obviously the more middle of the summer is going to be the warmest time. I'll tell you that our temperatures were about 60 to 75, so it was not bad at all. You see that we are completely bundled here, but we have very thin coats on. I would rather be warm than cold, so I overdid it, but really the hat on my head could have come off, but I would have had hat hair. So that's the only reason I didn't take it out for pictures. I was a little bit warm in these pictures. The best time of year to see whales, if you want to see them right next to your ship off the shore of Alaska, is July through September. So that's when you're really going to see them in abundance, but we did see whales while we were cruising in June. And then here I'm listing some of the temperatures, and I know people are from various destinations. I'll tell you though, honestly, we really were never uncomfortable, except for one evening we were on our deck waiting to go on the go-karts on the Norwegian Bliss, and we were out there for a little bit of a while waiting in line, and it did get a little bit cold, but it was 10 o'clock at night, so most of you probably won't be out on the deck at that time in the evening. Pack in layers. We had tons of luggage this time around. I probably should have posted the picture, but you want to pack in layers so that you can remove things. And packing was probably the hardest thing I did for this whole trip, was trying to figure out, did I have enough gear? I was worried things would be wet and that I would have to reuse them the next day wet. That never happened, so don't worry about that. And if it does, your ship has places where you can do laundry. So for my family of 5, that never happened. Pack comfortable hiking shoes. We each only had one pair, and I'll tell you, they never got muddy or filthy, but we also didn't go up there to the top of the mountains and do any crazy hiking. But we did hike, and our feet were never wet or cold. Don't forget sunglasses. It's very bright there, especially on the deck. Binoculars, you need them at all times. My kids had them around their neck at all times. And you need a good camera. This is not a trip that you will not want a camera for. You definitely want a good camera because there's a ton to take pictures of. Everywhere I looked was a photo opportunity for me. And the pictures really tell the story of how amazing this trip was. 5 reasons I believe that you should cruise Alaska, not only with your kids, but also with your parents. The amenities. So I'm not going to read each one of these to you, but I'll talk to you about them. There really is not a shortage of amenities on board a cruise ship. And if you're traveling with grandparents and kids and infants and millennials, and then also, people our age, somewhere between 30 to 45, there's no shortage of activities on a ship to Alaska. Flexible travel. It really offers, my mother-in-law was in a scooter for this trip, and we never once had an issue. In fact, she moved a lot quicker than we did, and people were very accommodating. And even in Alaska, we were able to take shuttle buses at the cruise ports, no problem whatsoever. Independent exploration, as I had mentioned earlier, we had 1 or 2 things planned, but not a ton. It was very easy for us to get around and see the sights and feel like we took in a lot of Alaska. We are very excited to get back and do that again. Best return on experience when you cruise. Everyone's kind of in the comfort of their own cabin, but also the amazing ship, and then also the amazing destination as well. So people have the flexibility to get up and go to bed when they feel like it, dine where they want, and then also maybe meet up in the morning if they'd like to go to the port. In a couple of days, we kind of separated, and that wasn't a problem because in the evening we knew we were all meeting up for dinner. So really a great return on experience when you're talking about traveling in a group. Sharing the world. I'll tell you, you'd be hard-pressed to find a grandparent that says that this is not on their bucket list. Why not do this together with your kids and experience it with your parents as well? It really was very humbling, a humbling experience for me. Like I said, one of the best trips I've taken with my family. So, of course, I have to give you guys a couple of special offers, and you want them. We have my favorite cruise lines for families I've listed here. And the first one is Disney Cruise Line. If you book your Disney Cruise Line vacation with Guru Travel by the 31st of October, so you still have several weeks, you have a whole month, we will offer you a $100 onboard credit. We have Holland America. Do not think Holland's not for families. It absolutely is. Love, love, love Holland. I have an amazing relationship with Holland as well. You actually are going to receive, this is not all you'll get because they have their own offer as well, but up to a $400 onboard spending per cabin. And that needs to be booked by 10/31. If you are traveling multi-gen, Holland is definitely one of the places to look. Norwegian, this is the cruise line my family chose. We loved it. We loved the Bliss, an amazing ship. We are offering a $100 onboard credit, plus they are offering unlimited internet and free at sea, which means free drinks, upgraded dining, and a whole slew of other amazing offers. Again, we just need you to book by 10/31. And for Royal Caribbean, you will get a $100 onboard credit, plus they are reducing the sailing for kids when you book by 10/31. It is Choose Cruise Month, so this is really why I've been wanting to do this webinar for a while, because every time I tell people that I've taken my family to Alaska, they kind of look at me like, why would you choose Alaska with kids? It was the best decision we made, best travel decision we've made in a long time, and Putting all the deals and promotions aside, I encourage you to consider it. And I'll tell you also, it is creeping up as one of the hottest family travel destinations, and I guarantee you in 2 to 3 years, everybody's going to be going, so you can kind of have the edge on that now so that you can be one of the first to go. But these cruise lines right here are my favorite family cruise lines. I feel they offer a fantastic value for cruising to Alaska with kids. I also feel that they offer a varied value. So if I were to talk to you and you told me my family likes this, this, and this, I could very easily find one of these cruise lines to fit your needs. And like I said, just because your neighbor likes one doesn't mean you're going to like it. Every family is very different. So that's where I come in and my team comes in, is to help you better understand and kind of sift through all the information. So I want to thank you for joining me this evening. It was my pleasure. Please be on the lookout for some future webinars. I'd love to receive an email from you with further questions. There's never any pressure to book your cruise with us, but of course we would love, love, love to work with you. You can reach me at letstravel@thewdwguru.com. You can schedule a call or an email. Love to work with you, and our offers are good through October 31st. Thank you for being here this evening, and I do look forward to working with each of you. Have a great evening, guys.